Continue with one of our top stories on the ANC-NEC meeting. I'm now joined by Mandla Madwara, who's an ANC member, and Zwane on the line, just to look at what has been going on and just give us a sense of their reaction tonight to what has been going on and what has been playing out in public when it comes to what exactly are the issues within the ANC. Good evening. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Mandla, I'm going to begin with you. You are someone that has been with this particular political party since the 80s, and I'm sure what is happening right now is invoking some kind of a reaction for you as a party member. What do you make of what has been playing out in the public space?
Yeah, look, Bongi, it's quite concerning that especially the rampant and unrelenting corruption, particularly by the prominent leaders at local, provincial, and at national level, and of course spilling over to the strategic and critical SOEs. And what to me is more concerning rather is the loss of confidence, of the ANC by the people. The trust deficit are almost, close to zero. And this weekend's NEC, amongst other things, is about that. And to me, it's really a great concern, and it gives us sleepless nights for us having spent so much time of our lives, especially youth lives. And now the ANC is at this critical stage that actually people cannot wait for elections. There are civil society forums that are springing up all over. And of course, in the agenda of the NEC, we know now that the declaration by the Constitutional Court that the current electoral system is unconstitutional. It just tells you that we are in a crisis as a movement. And therefore, for me, I would say that the call probably made by some of the leaders, including Thabo Mbeki, to go for a consultative conference and take a hard look at itself, invite civil society formations, and really review, what actually is happening. If, for example, Bongi, prominent leaders of the ANC are calling for the president to step down, if the president, as I've listened to you now, that the president is going to an integrity commission, then it just tells you that the movement that claims it's a leader of society is in crisis. So for me, the only option that is left is for the ANC to go to that consultative conference and renew itself.
And I'd like to bring in Zwane to this conversation. Zwane, Mandla is saying that it's time for the ANC to go to a consultative conference that is going to include civil society, and talking about an organization in crisis. What's your take?
That will be a better solution for the ANC, for our organization, actually, because we are in a state whereby we must understand and accept the corruption in our members in the movement. So I think that special conference will be better so that we can discuss, we can say what we feel about our organization. We are in mess. We cannot lie anymore. We cannot continue telling people things that we are not doing as members of the ANC.
Looking at the ANC, sorry, Zwane, pardon me. Looking at the ANC right now, do you think that there is space for such a consultative conference?
Yes. We must have it. We must have it. For the sake of the organization, we must have it so that we can discuss this crisis that we are in now. And it must not take us long, because next year is election. If we take long now, it's going to be a mess.
And Mandla, if I can bring you back in here, yesterday we saw a letter that was penned by former President Jacob Zuma, which was a very scathing letter to the current president, President Cyril Ramaphosa. We then saw another letter by Andile Lungisa, who's the deputy president of the ANC Youth League. Of course, he was, in fact, a former. And also we saw the move by the ANC in KZN to bring back Zandile Kumete, who's the former mayor of eThekwini, and then, of course, yesterday saying that he won't, she's no longer going to be there. And then you're seeing Tony Ngeni, an ANC-NEC member, saying that the president must do the right thing. All of these things are not in isolation. What do you make of what they've had to write in public and also the letter that was written by the former president?
Yeah, well, look, Bongi, all what you've just mentioned clearly shows the organization in crisis. Now, for me, the problem is that there's this disengagement with the society where these problems manifest themselves in such a way that we don't bring people through their formations, especially civil society groups, to be part of that solution. Because the letter that has been written by the president is not his own imagination. It's exactly what people are saying about the ANC in mass protest, in TV interviews, in social media. So he's just saying what the people are saying. Now, how then do you blame him to say that and accuse him that actually saying the ANC is corrupt? Of course, people, they don't care whether it's X or Y or Z. They are saying the whole ANC is corrupt. Now, for me, the tragedy is that the ANC lives in its own South Africa and then parallel to the real Republic of South Africa. Because now people have been reduced to spectators, and therefore that even calls for that consultative conference. It's not even a matter, Bongi, that whether there's a space or not. The ANC has to make that space, And to me, you mentioning of the elections next year, that's where people actually are going to show how they feel about the ANC. So why people, when they've got structures, all of a sudden they're writing to each other? Where have you heard that? If former President Jacob Zuma has got a problem, he picks up a call and talks to his president. If Lungisa has got a problem, he picks up a call. Why write these letters? Obviously, it's more about mobilizing the rest of society, And I suppose some people are panicking because they could see that the law enforcement are coming closer to them. And that's the problem. And then now they're using the society to try and look innocent. So there's a crisis. So go back to the consultative conference, make that space, invite, as I say, people, and actually even review the very constitution of the ANC. Because how the ANC actually is structured, governed by its constitution, poses a problem itself. So there's that asymmetry, of how the ANC operates and the rest of society. And we need to close that gap.
And
so to me, not surprising, therefore, we have reached this point. It's a modus operandi of an undemocratic organization that actually has got its own, South Africa, as I say.
And Zipozake, if I can also just bring you in here, part of what former President Jacob Zuma says in his letter is that there shouldn't be collective responsibility, but certainly this is what we've been hearing from the ANC all these years, talking about collective responsibility, and even during his tenure as president, this was really a popular term. But he's saying that President Cyril Ramaphosa must face the music on his own and face his charges on his own. In fact, not charges, rather, pardon me, the allegations on his own, which is something that he says he himself is doing. But then let's look at this particular issue. Should the ANC, as a collective, dip its head in shame, or should it only be President Cyril Ramaphosa that dips his head in shame?
You know, the problem that we have in our organization is that we have groups of friends within the organization who are leaders. Now they are fighting each other because they are a group of friends. We need to go back to the drawing board and go away, do away actually with those things of elite and tell in the organization, because it's a crisis now and they don't understand we have a crisis now. Now they are fighting with each other. Who's the best? Who's better than the other one? Who knows the ANC better than other one? So we are in that mess. That is why I'm saying the sooner the better. We need to call the meeting. All the members of the ANC. We need to have the conference.
And Zipho, when you look at how the ANC has been going to conference and electing its leaders, one of the things that seems obvious, particularly after Nasrec, is that the current president won conference, but it doesn't appear to be the case with the ANC. Now, when you look at how the president of the ANC is elected, do you think that system, that process, is still supposed to be carried forward by the party, or should things change?
No, never again. Never again. It's my view. Never again in the ANC we do that. Because the reason why we are in this crisis is those decisions that we took long time ago, from 1994 actually. We've been keeping all the conferences. We were doing the same thing. The same thing. Now we must change.
And Mandla, if I can bring you into this particular point as well, as an ANC member, are you comfortable with how the ANC president has been elected over the years?
Look, Bongi, as I said earlier, or just to enjoin my earlier point, we are in an open society now. We can no longer afford that only 4,000 delegates, elect a president that will contest elections. Chances are that over the years you will win and become the president of the country. I think that the people must elect the president directly. That is why that constitutional declaration of the current electoral system is in the agenda, precisely because it is said that there's this parallelism or asymmetry between the constitution of the ANC, which governs its modus operandi, has been caught wanting. That is exactly the point, and even at the branch level where people decide who's a councillor, who's not a councillor. I mean, if you look at the membership of the ANC, it's hardly 2 million. And then you're governing 58 million people. And to me, that has got to change. So the modus operandi of exile and underground is catching up now because we're in an open society. And therefore, that has got to change, So for me, I think it's outdated way of operation. And I had a good look at the ANC constitution. There are a lot of things that needs to be changed. Your rule number 2, the character of the ANC, the Freedom Charter that spells out that actually, people should govern. And at the moment, we're being governed. And that's where now people are fighting about who should be governing on behalf of the people, who is lesser corrupt than the other. And now the ANC cannot then has got a problem as to how do you measure who's a less corrupt than the other, And I can imagine the Integrity Commission. You look at the Nasrec, whether it was given sufficient powers to be able to execute its duty. Now, when people defy it, what recourse does it have?